Hi Superstars! Today I'm going to spend a little bit of time teaching you about weather. Now we've already learned a lot about weather through learning about the different seasons during the school year. So in the fall we switched from it being the season of summer to the season of fall, and we learned about fall weather. Then we switched from the season of fall to the season of winter, and we started learning about different kinds of winter weather. And then we switched recently from the season of winter to the season of spring. And the season of spring, between winter and spring, really brings on a lot of different kinds of weather. So it's a great time to learn about weather. So I'm going to start today by showing you a book. Now this is a sight word reader. The reader that was in your packet looks like this. Okay, so it's a little bit smaller. Mine is a little bit bigger, and I did print it in color. So I'm going to use mine just to be able to have the words a little bit bigger, but everything that's in here is the same story. Weather. So if we look at the cover, we might call this kind of weather cloudy, sunny. You look at that one with lightning. You can't hear it, but there's probably thunder too. So I call that stormy. And then this one is windy. This is called a tornado. That would be very, very windy. There are many kinds of weather. What will the weather be today? And notice it's a question mark. And I also notice that excitement mark. So when I read that, I'm going to make sure that I read it with excitement and a questioning voice. Notice the snap words, and you'll notice there's also a nice pattern in this book. This looks a lot like our morning messages look. Today, the weather is sunny. What will the weather be tomorrow? Today, the weather is cloudy. What will the weather be tomorrow? So boys and girls, as you read each page, when you get to the weather word, you might remember it from our time in our classroom together with our weather words. You also can use the picture clue. So that's using your picture power to look at a trickier word that isn't a sight word or part of the pattern. Now notice this picture and think about, what do you think the weather word will be? I'm going to show you a first sound, w, and see if that helps you. Today the weather is windy. What will the weather be tomorrow? All right, again, I'm going to cover up the weather word. I just want you to look at the picture and then think about what makes sense. What do you think the weather word will be? Then I'm going to show you just the first sound. Today the weather is rainy. What will the weather be tomorrow? This one's a little bit trickier to see, but this is snowy. Today the weather is snowy. What will the weather be tomorrow? And I hope we're done with that snow. And this doesn't happen every day, but we did have this last week. Stormy. Today the weather is stormy. What will the weather be tomorrow? And that is the end of weather. Whoop, went backwards. Weather. Now, when you read your book, boys and girls, I want you to pay careful attention to the pattern in the story. I want you to notice the snap words. After you read it, you can go back in the story and circle those snap words that you find and practice reading this with expression. We talk about not reading like a robot, trying to read with expression using the excitement marks and the question marks that you'll see. Now, for the read aloud today, I have a book that it's kind of very similar. It's asking a question. What will the weather be like today? The author is Paul Rogers, and the illustrator is Kazuko. What will the weather be like today? Just at the moment when night becomes day, when the stars in the sky begin fading away. Fading, it means the stars are going away. You can hear all the birds and the animals say, what will the weather be like today? Will it be windy? There's a kite. Will it be warm? That looks like a fun day in the park. Will there be snow or a frost? Remember, frost you see usually just in the morning until the sun comes up and makes the frost go away when things warm up. Or a storm. And that's when we sometimes see those bolts of lightning, or we might hear the clouds bumping into each other, and that makes that thundering sound. The frog in the bog says, perhaps it will rain. Those frogs love the rain. Oh, I missed some words. I'm going to go back. Be dry, says the lizard, and I won't complain. So the lizards like it when it's really hot and dry in the desert. The frogs in the bog says, perhaps it will rain, and they like the wetness. I missed those words. They were hiding in the grass. The white cockatoo likes it steamy and hot. So that's a tropical bird. The mole doesn't know if it's raining or not, because the mole lives way down here in its burrows and tunnels under the ground. Whatever the weather, I work, says the bee. Wet, says the duck, is the weather for me. It reminds me of all that we learned about from Mrs. Watt about bees and how they have to work every day, no matter the weather. Weather? What's that? Say the fish in the sea. Maybe they don't even know what's happening because they're so deep down under the ocean. The world has awakened. The day has begun. And somewhere it's cloudy, and somewhere there's sun. So some parts of the world will have different weather than we have. And somewhere the sun and the rain meet to play. So that's those days where you get sun and rain together. And paint a bright rainbow to dress up the day. In this springtime weather, we know we learned a lot about it in the month of March. This is the time of the year that sometimes we get that sun and rain, just the right amount of both, and sometimes we get a rainbow. So keep an eye out for those. How is the weather where you are today? So I want you to think about that, and we're going to continue talking more and more about weather for the rest of this week at school. So boys and girls, today and this rest of this week, please practice your weather book. Make sure you save these books in a safe place, and if you have a box or an envelope, you can keep them right in there and keep them safe, because those are books that you can read over and over just to practice your reading superpowers and to keep making your brain stronger and stronger. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.